Hi, welcome, and thank you for joining us. My name is Natalie Kimball. I am Vice President of Strategic Accounts at Shiji, and we are so excited that you could join us to learn a little bit more about what trends we are facing so far in 2025. One of the things we promised you with this webinar was getting straight to the point. So let's get right into it. So what are the things that we are seeing? What's shaping our industry so far this year? One of the bigger things, social. Yes, our good old friend, social media. Now, what makes it unique is that we are starting to see that bookings are happening inside of social media itself. So let's break that down. A couple quick stats. 27% of TikTok users are actually have reported that they're going to book a trip within the next 6 months. 37% of users within US and Canada have reported that they were directly inspired by a story or a feed or information that they saw on Instagram. We have a story of that on our team. Someone actually saw a inspiring post from someone and booked an entire trip based around this Instagram story of a user. So it's happening. I can say it firsthand. It's not just a statistic. And why is that important to you? Well, the reason that it's important is it's going to drive to brand.com. So it's going to drive directly to your hotel. Now, how do you influence that? You're going to ask yourself. In the US and in the rest of Americas and even in Europe so far, we do not yet have a lot of social media that is allowing direct bookings. They do in China. So there is the TikTok equivalent owned entity in China called Douyin. And what's happening there is that consumers actually go directly into Douyin and they are able to book on brand.com. So as it happens in that market, generally what we start to see is it expands outside. So what does that mean? WhatsApp, Rednote, WeChat, Instagram, TikTok. These are going to eventually, and sooner rather than later, add in the ability to book directly. So your influencers, where you are providing that incredible experience on property, they're going to do your marketing for you. And then they're going to drive to brand.com. So it's really important to think about social media and these apps. They are not just influencing, they actually will drive revenue. So keep an eye out for that. Loyalty. So let's kind of move in. Let's kind of go down the path. We've had, if you've got, your bookings are happening through brand.com. What's next? Loyalty programs. They are changing. What we are seeing is that there is a decline in registration for loyalty programs. There is a decline in the offerings that are being given direct through loyalty programs, and there is an increase in the requirement to qualify. That's a lot of ups and downs. So essentially what's happening is the requirement to get in has moved up, but the benefits once you're in have gone down. So that's not great for travelers. However, what it does is it allows the traveler to experience more brands. So if you're not part of a very, very large loyalty program, it gives you the opportunity to have a seat at the table and let customers experience your unique product. So really what's happening is more travelers are being exploring and being more open to other brands that maybe they hadn't worked with in the past. And they may actually be opting into an OTA type loyalty program over a hotel branded direct loyalty program. So what that means to you is that as your customers are coming through the door, get as personalized as you can for those experiences. It's really, I think, going to be that egg that we're trying to crack as an industry, how to make sure that that's a personalized experience, but that really is where you're going to win over these guests. So the next category that we see, so we've gone through social media, we've talked about loyalty programs. The next one really is the all-in cost. So just a few weeks ago, May 12th, there was an FTC mandate in the US that stated there could be no more hidden fees. So that has really affected both short-term bookings for short-term rental market and online booking sites. So what that means now is that when a consumer is coming through, no longer can resort fees be kind of left off until the end. Everything is a more competitive price. So that's great for hotels because it allows you to really see a total price. I was just in a market where they were selling a room at a single digit, so less than $9 or less, and the resort fee was almost $60. So that's not really a competitive rate until you see that all-in price of around almost $70. When you're looking at it alone, seeing a single digit for a room rate makes you think that maybe, that's really competitive. But when you put it all together and actually show what the price is without the hidden fee, that's something to really be aware of. And that trend is shaping the industry. So it was first implemented in the States, in California. It was kind of called no junk fees. This is going to continue to shape and react how we actually put forward pricing. So we've seen this before. There was an uptick in charging for Wi-Fi and charging for any kind of ancillary things that could be charged on property. So as you're looking at your pricing and revenue strategies moving forward, it's important to consider that it's really all about this all-in cost, which again allows you to really take care and service your customers. So keep an eye on that. Next, we're going to talk about our fourth topic, which is AI. Yes, AI. So we're hitting on some of the big, I know, buzzwords that we've all talked about time and time again, but it's really important. And the reason that it's important is that AI is now allowing for a user who has no experience in coding to be able to edit images. So let's imagine a scenario where you've done, as a hotelier, you've spent money and done a very large photo shoot. Well, maybe now you want to take it to a seasonal and you want to add a holiday tree in the background, or you want to change it from a spring, maybe light pastel colors, to darker, more fall colors. You can literally now do that through texting, change the colors in the background from pastels to dark colors. You don't have to go in and code that. You can say unwrinkle the bed because maybe during that shoot the bed wasn't completely flat. You can just type in, which is absolutely wild to me because I come from a generation where you had to know all the coding and you had to know all the back end. Not anymore. So AI is going to continue to play a factor, but keep in mind you can't edit in the example of the images. You can't actually edit until the pictures are taken. So it's not going to replace everything. I think that's part of the fear that we have. It's the unknown. Don't let it scare you. AI is actually here to help us, and in the right cases, it really works. So a lot of providers are getting smart about how the end user actually can submit that information and submit that request, as opposed to going in and actually having to code. You just say, hey, straighten up the sheets, or open the windows so that you can see the outside, and then you can change the outside view. We obviously don't want or encourage anybody to have incorrect data. That's not what this is about, but it's really about personalizing. So again, if we go back to the previous one on personalization, if a customer is traveling with their family, we'll be able to get to the point with AI where you can serve an image where maybe there's a cot in the corner, or a baby crib, or things that really cater to a family experience with multiple beds in the room, versus if it's a couple, or if it's a business traveler, or if it's something that those things aren't going to be as relevant. So there's also new companies that are coming up with ways to personalize videos, a lot of it through AI prior to guest arrival. So I could be checking in and I could get a video link that says, Natalie, thanks for coming on property. If you wanted to take advantage of our shuttle, here's how you do that. It can be from the general manager. It can be from a generic bot that kind of provides that information. But that's that level of personalization that's happening. So we're going to hit on our last one here, and it's going to talk about forecast. So I have a couple numbers, a couple things. We've seen some really wild data the first half of this year, and we're not even at the end of Q2, but Q1, a lot of reporting is in. what we are seeing is that, kind of the overall message is that it's uncertain. We don't really know what's going to happen. But what we have seen is that numbers have gotten soft. So US, for example, the travel is declining. We're seeing Europe in certain segments, it's actually increasing. But there's so much volatility that it's really hard to put your finger on where am I losing? Am I, we know maybe government business is down. Is crew business down? What are we seeing? There's no real one area that we can put our finger down. It's just kind of overall softening demand. So we've seen a couple of reports that have come out from some of our really respected partners in the industry. Sabre reported that corporate bookings have dropped by 5%, and that Amadeus, on the other hand, has reported that it's up 7.4%. Expedia has reported a decline of 7%, with inbound from Canada down 30% to the US. So we're really seeing a wide range of the forecast saying it's up, it's down, it's middle, it's inconsistent. But I think overall what we are seeing is that retail spend is down. So if you've invested a lot in shops, in things where customers are actually buying on property, we are seeing that retail certainly is flat. However, we also know that direct bookings are more important than ever. So you're able to sell ancillary products on property as opposed to maybe the excursion, where in the past maybe people were leaving the property and doing more off property. The spend on property is actually going up. So those customers who are checking in, who are having those personalized and spending the time to research the exact property that they want to go to, they're spending more time on property, which in turn means they're spending more money on property. We are seeing that the China outbound tourism, it is up, up, up. We are showing numbers that it's up about 103% year over year from May of 24 to 25. So we thought that the year of the Chinese traveler was going to be 2019 to 2020. And we obviously, with the pandemic, that got delayed. But now we're really seeing that the traveler is traveling outbound from China. So that's really great. Do not do not go asleep on that market. Chinese travelers are out and they are traveling. Japan is declining. So they were seeing a massive influx, and their numbers got so high that they're actually looking to put restrictions on inbound travel into the market in 26. Spain has just dropped from the #1 spot as the largest global inbound market. They put a couple of requests to restrict some of the short-term rental that's going on in that market. So again, I think that the thing about the forecast for 25 is that it has been a dartboard. It has been this week it's that, this week it's this, and we're really just kind of spinning it around to say what's out there and what's happening. So I think that the message that we would like for you to leave with is, I think in the hotel industry, there's been a lot of consolidation around making sure hotels are very clear on where their rates are going. There's been a huge investment in marketplace strategy, and that has really paid off because now hoteliers have been able to really restrict where and monitor where a lot of their inventory is being sold. So because of that, we would encourage you to really think about making sure that you're on the shelves in more destination specific sites. So knowing that Asia really is traveling outbound all over the world, make sure that you're working with partners that can help fill your hotel and make sure that you're on those shelves, and make sure that you're presenting your product and working with partners that you trust. We know it's been a wild ride already in 25. You're not in this alone. We are on this journey with you. We hope that you've walked away from something. I'll do a really quick recap here. Social media, don't shy away. It is the place where your influencers are actually helping to encourage their viewers to become bookers. The loyalty programs, be open to maybe working in a little bit different factor than you may have worked in the past. If it's through OTA programs, if it's through repeat guests that are coming to your property, make sure that you're giving them that unique personalized experience. Be aware of the all cost model and how you're being priced and perceived. that AI is going to continue to be a pivotal part of how your hotel is showcased. And then for the 2025 forecast, part of it is just saying you're not alone. We're all going through the madness. We're all waiting to see kind of where things are going to land. But the overall message is make sure that you're out there in the marketplace, that you're able to have your hotel viewed, and that hopefully that results in increased bookings. So thank you again for joining us. We're so glad that you could. We appreciate your time and wish you a great and successful rest of the year.